Hey everybody, Charles Calhoun, aka the Shadetree Pro, here at the beautiful Grand Vista Marriott in Orlando, Florida, where I own and operate my teaching business under the Shadetree. Hey, this video is going to be more or less a PSA, and you know, uh, personally, and I was telling one of my friends this, the work that I put in to develop this top-down swing system and philosophy, yeah, I'm definitely uh, hardcore with it because I know the work that I put behind it. And if you're going to put some work into something, it's producing some results, then you have to do what you have to do. And if that means you got to stand firm, you stand firm, because there's always the crabs in the bucket. Let's be real. Now, one of the things I've always said, and I got a few people that always, I tell them, I say things like this. Now, you all have watched me hit this golf ball over and over and over, whether I'm standing on the range or whatever. And then when I go out and play, I play some good golf. Um, but has always surprised me is that when I hear certain things such as watching me hit the golf ball, but yet those and some teachers telling me things like what I think I'm doing, I'm not doing, which is kind of funny to me. But yet, in the same sense, those who don't hit it nowhere near as well, they know exactly what they're doing, but for some reason they can't hit it well, and definitely not as consistent. It doesn't make sense to me. And tell the truth, it doesn't make sense to them as well. It's just anything to keep the algorithm going, I would say. But anyway, look, I'm looking for a group of teachers. I want a group of teachers that is dead set serious about real information and understand it. Now, if people would stop and take the time to understand what I talk about and see what it is that I've done, then, like I said, some of these guys, a lot of guys I know, they talk about in the PGA that they want to get up to this level, they want to move. Well, knowledge will get you there. It was Warren Buffett who said, the more you learn, the more you earn. Well, top down provides you an opportunity to be able to learn something else. And as teachers, your job is to learn as much as you possibly can to make the learning process for your clients much simpler and much easier. Now, we talk about fundamentals in golf. Now, I laid out the fundamentals as sharp as it could get. The head, the hands, the feet. Now, that's fundamental in any type of sport whatsoever, your head, the hands, the feet. But the beauty of this is that I have been able not only to create a setup inside of that, I've also been able to create an understanding that there is a move, whether it's in the head, there's a hands, and there's a feet. There's movements in a sense that are being triggered. And in each area, there is a key movement. And sometimes, like I learned, I tell one of my buddies who know my golf swing, know my game, know the things that I've done, sometimes you have to get close to the fire to be able to understand or feel the heat. There was a time when I used to hit it off the hosel, and I did everything that they talked about in the books to try to fix it, try to do this or whatever. And then, like I said, and I've talked about this story one day, learning some stuff, I just decided, hey, you know what? I came to this conclusion, and I talk about this as in teachers, to be a better teacher. I taught myself how to hit it off the hosel. And I can hit it off the hosel on command. I taught myself to learn how to hit it off the hosel. And then once I learned how to hit it off the hosel, then it made it easy for me to be able to teach people not to hit it off there because I know what did it. That's like any kind of real science, like even, when they testing animals or whatever the things that they do. And I hope people don't get offended because, where they test stuff. But when they testing things, what they're doing is they're trying to recreate the condition. That's like in that movie, Something the Lord Made. They're trying to recreate the condition so they can find the cure. And that's what I've done is I've recreated conditions in a sense that throughout the golf swing that we see as flaws that everybody tries to get away from. What I've done is created an understanding of how to create those flaws. And once I've learned how to create those flaws, then it's been easy for me to develop a cure. And one of the biggest things that came from that, like I said, was that dead fingers grip, as well as the anatomical ends, the head, the hands, the feet. And in the process of doing that, I've learned to create definitely movements that allows me to be able to make a consistent swing over and over. Only thing I'm looking for is I need some serious, like-minded individuals, teachers, companies, anything that's willing and ready to get behind the Shadetree Pro. You know, you all, it's a lot of them got more things going on than I do. You know, but my job was to create the information. I created the information. Now let's see if we're really trying to teach these, because what we got, I think it's PJ, it's like 30 some thousand teachers, you know, that the PGA of America has. But then you've got, what, 25, 30 million people out here just in the United States that play golf. And the only way that you're going to reach them and really keep growing this game of golf and producing the type of players where people can get enjoyment, in a sense, you know, it's just got to come from the information. And I'm sorry, that information needs to be conducive to what is actually doing. And it needs to be, the learning process has got to be faster. I'm saying it from my own experience. It's just too slow. You've got to make that learning process a little bit faster, in a sense, because man, those people get on the edge and they're ready to quit, and we got to stop that. So, and I've learned if you get a person who ain't never played just to hit it halfway decent, believe it or not, man, that keeps them into the game. Well, with the Shadetree Pro swing system and philosophy top down, I'll get you faster. I'll get you understanding. I'll get you thinking no different than any tour player out there. And what it is because the anatomical ends is fundamental to anyone who ever played this game, from the ones that's in the ground and the ones that'll be in the ground. You know, it's just like that. And I know it's, you know, it's hard for people to let go of certain type of beliefs, you know, cognitive dissonance. But you know what? But it's time to let go. It's time to let go and start opening up your mind, start paying attention, start seeing. As I said, movements are always supersede feels. Feels come and go. Movements is what create the feels. I tell people all the time, my focus in top down is on the joints. With the head, the hands, the feet, that gives me the ability to make those movements to create any type of feel that I want. And that's why my swing repeats, whether I'm chipping, whether I'm putting, whatever. The movements are movements. And you have to be able to develop the movements to be able to be as good as you possibly can. I've spent probably the last 12 years, at least 7, 8 of those years of really, really breaking it down. But guess, you know what? It takes about 8 years to actually become a doctor and learning the body, learning all these things. Well, I know these movements. And as I said, I built top down, not in to show you just to show you how to swing, but actually to be able to fix swings. And that is the most important thing that I've developed with my top down swing system philosophy. So you teachers, you're out there, you're ready to get to work, businesses out there, you're ready to connect with the Shadetree Pro. Go to shadetreepro.com. You can see my number right there. Give me a call. DM me on my social medias. Let's get this thing started, because like I said, there is an easier way to learn and understand how the golf swing works. And like Henry Ford, when he talked about the assembly line, when you get everybody set up with the good anatomical ends, the head, the hands, the feet, and like Jack Nicklaus said, teach somebody how to set up the proper way, the golf swing is not that difficult, because at the end of the day, the golf club comes up, it comes back down to strike, and it goes back up to finish. And not me, you, or no one else can get past that. And with a good dead fingers grip, it makes the learning process even that much more simpler. Hey, this is Charles Calhoun, aka the Shadetree Pro. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. People, don't forget to go to the membership, join that membership. And as I said, it's so much good information inside of there. And all I'm doing, well, a good friend of mine back in the day named Earl Vasquez, he told me this a long time ago. He said, Charles, keep dumbing it down. And I've dumbed it down to the simplicity of what I know and understand the golf swing to be. And like I said, my swing repeats every day for a reason, because it's based on movements, not what I'm feeling. Charles Calhoun, aka the Shadetree Pro. Always good golfing.